I wasn't even supposed to be here today. The late 90s and the early 2000s, mid-2000s, I grew up back. Late 90s, and then again in the mid-2000s, I had a goatee. Technically a Van Dyke. A lot of people would say I look like Dante from Clerks. Feel like Dante today. All right. Wow. It's a weird day for it's just weird, right? Welcome to the Blathering. I'm Ken Napzok. I am recovering. Monday I had, if you watch Force Center Live, you watched a grown adult have a panic attack. I didn't know it at the time. I thought I was having a heart attack, which my dad had one a few years ago. So it's looming on my horizon. I'll get there. And I'm good, far from the only person to have one on Monday. I know people have had them today. Since then, everything's been wrong. Everything's been... My right foot is swollen and numb. Is that a good thing? So maybe I should... maybe I should just go back to bed today. But I'm here. And all of you are here as well. Jared, the TIE pilot, Detective McCarsell for a little bit. So he had a charity dog walk, but now he is... so he's here. Steve says it's been a day. Devin Guy says weird. Chris King's here. Coop's here. A lot of people checking in as normal. We got Laserbolt. I want to highlight our buddy Laserbolt. Starting the show with some good news. Laserbolt and his channel, check out Laserbolt videos, has crossed the coveted 1,000 subscriber mark. Why is that important? Because that, combined with 4,000 watch hours in a calendar year, makes you a YouTube partner. Does that mean you're going to be rich? No, but it means you could be, and you could be soon. Congratulations to Laserbolt, who's been working on building his wonderful, quaint, warm, cozy channel for a while, and now on to wonderful things and bigger things, and maybe Forest Meets. If he's not willing to change the entire channel to Forest Meets, maybe he does a segment called Forest Meets. Get some graphics, throw some ribs on a log somewhere in the forest. But I wanted to highlight and just say great job to Laserbolt for that. Don't panic and bring a towel. Yes, we're here. So what I was starting to get at, what was I starting to get? What was I getting at? I don't know. We've got 60 seconds of science coming your way at 1730 hours. 1800 hours, we've got sports with producer Steve. Steve, you sent me a wonderful rundown, and I didn't get home until close to 4:20. I get it. It's a popular drug, a code for a drug, probably based off some penal code somewhere. But we are going to be talking about sports, and all those good things, and your general calls. I don't have anything on the mind. The hardest thing about this show, the reason I love doing this show, is also the hardest thing for me to market or promote. This is a show that is live. I record it and release it later as a podcast, and you can watch it later on YouTube. But this is a lifestyle show in which the headlines of the day, your calls. I don't know. Addie's got 60 seconds of science. You know, I don't know what she's talking about. I think she put a post out there. I think I saw it when I was having lunch today. Steve emailed me. I don't know what he's going to talk about in sports. When Jared, the TIE pilot, calls in, who the boop knows what he's going to talk about? I wait to swear for about 15 minutes. So today's one of those days where, you know, as I'm sitting down to put the show together, well, first of all, I get the promotion out. I titled the episode, Let's Go Live While We Still Can, whatever the hell I titled it. Going Live While We Still Can. It's a multi-layered title. I, have hopefully some job things happening, and two of them are like, that would be amazing. Neither of them would cut the blathering out of my life. Then I have another one that's like, okay, that's not amazing, but that would be interesting and different to kind of be a foundational source of income while I do my other things, and that would be good for the blathering. and you just gotta kind of leave it all up. So there's a little bit of that where I'm just like this. We're going live Thursday at 5, like we like to do, because we can right now. There might be a time in the near future where I can't. I have to change it, and hopefully you all can follow me. We do a big show on a Saturday or a Sunday or something like that. Maybe I launch a morning show. A lot of you have jobs. Quit your jobs to watch the Blathering. It's all I've been asking. But I also did that because I don't know. Let's just enjoy what we got going on, because this is 6 weeks into this administration. What are we, 6 months? 6 years when the king takes over? I don't know. But also, I don't want to get lost in that. I was having some of those conversations today with friends about the idea of I do. It's not about even striking a balance. I've just got to be honest where I'm at. I check the news every day. I check it often. I've got ground news up right now. I've got quotes from Chuck Schumer. Old feckless Chuck. I am pulled in every day. I also think there can be this sort of addictive behavior behind the idea of, did you see what they did? Yeah. Are you surprised? No. It's reality. It's reality in. We got to find the ways through that. It doesn't, did you see this? Yes. I'm paying attention. Let me just have this sandwich. Can I eat? And it's therapeutic to do that, and this place can be that. This is not an exchange of ideas. This is a live lifestyle broadcast talking about a lot of things. And today's one of those days where I'm like, I haven't had a chance to even take in what's gone on today with Chuck Schumer saying, yeah, let's vote for this bill. And also, some of his, in normal times, we're not in normal times. In normal times, some of his quotes of like, yeah, this bill's bad, the shutdown's worse. I'd be like, yeah, sorry to say that hard truth to some of you, but that's actually kind of true. I don't know if that's true right now. And I want to do my due diligence of seeing this all. But I think, seeing the big picture, I think the problem and the angst is when Chuck puts his glasses on and looks down, and we've decided what we've come to a consensus on is we're going to vote for this bill, and we're gonna avoid the shutdown. I think there's a little sense of, is this all we got? We're helpless and hopeless in the face of all this stuff, and all we can do is, well, I'm not making fun of anyone or fighting the idea, but all we can do sometimes is like, did you see this? It's sometimes the only weapon we have. You can write, you can call, you can go out to a takedown Tesla protest, and with what's going on with Muhammad Khalil and Columbia University is horrifying, and taken to the streets is it. But I think there's this change going on where we're realizing we might have to do that. You might have to get out of your comfort zone, or you just don't know how to process it. And if you're plugged in, you look to the news and you got Chuck Schumer going, well, we've decided. We've decided. By the way, I'm probably for insider trading. And it just feels, I feel a little like, all right, let's get drunk. I think that's where I am today. And so it's like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And nothing feels good right now. The EPA, head of the EPA, who's like, what was fun? 1972, where LA was covered in smog. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. And there's all that going on there too. But that's kind of where I'm at today. So we're gonna have some calls. And Sharon, the Time Pilot says, I'm stoned AF. That might be all I got today. Tell you what I got today. I got some pomegranate juice. I got some Aloe King, which sounds like something you put on your skin when you spent too much time down at Atlantic City. I got a super blather from Malcolm. We're going to get to that. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, Tully, I've had this conversation a few times today. Tully Quince is a lefty. It's very cathartic seeing liberals getting mad and realizing we've been infuriated with Dem leadership for the past decade. Yeah, I get it. I have not been infuriated with Dem leadership. I still think that's too close to both sidesism. But not you, Tully, but I had this conversation twice today. But the point is, what Tully's point is that I very much agree with, Tully, I very much agree with you, is this, we keep saying unprecedented times, and for a lot of people especially those outside of this country, this is very precedented. And there's a little bit of welcome to the party pal energy. And when I think if it's not handled correctly, again, Tully, some other people talk, when it's not handled correctly, it veers like a Miley Cyrus wrecking ball into both sidesism that I think leads to apathy. But that's also the norm is upset. The normal, not norm down at the diner. The norm has been upset, and to Tully saying something that I have had 2 conversations with people today about yeah, wait till you go back even 100 years. This is, it's been comfortable for you, huh? It's no longer comfortable. And I think maybe that's a good thing. I think. I also had a conversation this week of someone who was sharing, definitely won't give the details, sharing the idea of this stuff hitting a lot of their family members in the face, federal firings, Elon emails, 401ks being boosh, and that has been the thing to change them. And that can be frustrating because, oh, now, welcome to the party. 2, but what about the other people? It has to happen to you to change you. But I also think it's important to acknowledge that that kind of change is happening. And it happened to me at one point in my life. It's happened to other people I know, and I hear it happening more and more. And I think part of that is a lot of normal, good-meaning people, and I do mean good meaning. I will get grumpy when you cast generalizations on anyone in middle America or Republicans or this or that. I get a little grumpy with the generalizations because that's part of why I think there's losses happening on the left, is there's a little bit of snootiness. There are changes happening. They are happening. Unfortunately, the world's burning because of it. And unfortunately, it wasn't other people's rights that needed to be, that were affected, that it caused the change. Alden and I have talked about that for a long time. Shout out to Alden Diaz. And I don't think we're doing it anytime tomorrow because I got something going on. It's my fault. I'm the problem. It's me. But these are all the thoughts swirling around my head today. That we are, the entire world is spinning in 39 different directions today. And I can only focus on the small things, you know. And I've said this before, like I try to focus. I said smocus because maybe I want to smoke what Jared the Time Pilot is doing. I've never guaranteed that he smoked it. He might just ingest. I will ask him if he wants to answer that question. But like that's why I focus on not a attack of Christians in general, but another mega church pastor, the guy who prayed over Trump, may have gone up on words deleted from YouTube on a 12-year-old. Where are you? You know, where are you? I think 99% of the time you're just normal. You go to church on Sundays, you're doing your thing, and you're not plugged in. Great. Can I help plug you into this? What do you think about that? Or for me, coming from my background of someone who changed from not a demonstrable a-hole, but to someone who's like, none of this matters to it does matter. Along the way, people help me with that process. So I like focusing on that. But this week's been hard to focus. Lazywill says, I live in Michigan from a military family. None of us like Trump. Exactly. Lauren Rowe has been thinking about the Marva speech and Nemec's manifesto. Is that a Star Wars show? I don't know what that is. Is that a Star Wars show? Is that from a space fantasy? Tully says, I do think welcome to the party is a much better attitude to have than I told you so. Even in fact, telling people, yeah, absolutely. Tully, you're right. I think we can still have the thoughts. And Alden's in chat says Popeyes consumed, edibles taken, now Chapel Roan. Alden's, I don't want to share. Alden and I text often. I like the kid. Yeah, I think you're absolutely. I want to scream that too. And Tully, I think the branding is something that is out there. I appreciate Tully. Tully's a warrior. Okay. A wild Alden appears. I knew Alden was watching. He told me he was. All right. So we got calls coming. And we got Chris lined up. We got Jared. We got Addie doing some 60 seconds of science. I don't think it was a good week for science. I don't want to. Yeah. See, they're verbal prairie dog. That's a great name. Around a sub of 600, whole family on one side has voted for Dem for 3 gens that are more than think. Yeah, right. From a town. Oh, from a town of 600. God, I think verbal prairie dog. I totally felt you, but I love that. I thought a sub 600 was like, did you grow up on a submarine? That's amazing. Yeah, man, I think that's true. Absolutely. This is why I hate the generalization of, even though I get it, I hate the generalization of F insert state. I've said this before in the show. I'm repeating myself like a drunk uncle. Because some people are in that state who can't leave, who don't want to leave. Maybe they don't want to leave, and they're generally on the right side of things. I don't hold it against them. Oh, now Alden's in my chat demanding that you all like the video, and you should like the video. Okay, before we get to calls, I promised myself this rant started with, I always want to acknowledge what's going on out there and that it's heavy and it's hard. And I want to spend a lot of time digging through it, but I also don't want to be the good guy. And I want to also remember part of what we should be fighting for is just to have normal lives. I don't think normal lives exist. Today, if I was just doing a movie news show, if Ken, the pit boss Napzok, never changed and grew, and God damn it, I sometimes wish I didn't change and grow. I'm kidding. If I was just doing a movie news show, if I was just doing, let's just do all hours of pop culture, which is fine. Force Center is still a Star Wars show. Today's show would be about the earth-shattering news. David Mackay says, unlike in the video, so Ken never has to watch the side. Thank you, David. Alternate timeline, Ken. This show would be about one thing. And then I would know what to put on the thumbnail. In fact, it still might be the thumbnail. Today's thumbnail might be a picture of Chuck Schumer going, well, I just don't think, I don't know, that picture of Schumer, and then a picture of Billy the Kid, because Young Guns 3 begins shooting in New Mexico in the fall. I think people think I'm joking when I say Young Guns and Young Guns 2 are two of my favorite movies of all time. And in some ways, I have seen them and watched them more and processed them and spent time with them more than Star Wars. All right? It's not probably not technically true anymore. But if I was smart, I would have launched the Young Guns podcast of my dreams back in 1990. I love Young Guns. I love the series. I love Emilio Estevez. I love Lou Diamond Phillips. I like Charlie Sheen. I don't. I love Kiefer Sutherland. I don't know. I haven't checked all his votes, but I love Casey Zemesco. I love Dermot Mulroney, Dirty Steve. I love Young Guns, and I love William Peterson as Pat Garrett. And I absolutely just adore John Fusco, the writer of these movies, who is in on this as well. And Fusco, I don't think he's on Blue Sky. We follow each other. It's one of my only things I'm proud of in life. We're never spoken directly. I'm trying to work up the courage. To publicly ask John Fusco to come on the Blathering and talk about this. Young Guns 3, starring Emilio Estevez, directed by Emilio Estevez, will go into principal photography, into production. It's probably already in pre-production. It is. In New Mexico in the fall. It is the day I've been waiting for. And there's an article I'm reading from the Santa Fe New Mexican newspaper there, who said there's been hearty cheers, perhaps fueled by nostalgia. Okay, I hate when nostalgia is used as a weapon against one's love for something that might have come out a while ago. This is exciting stuff. No plot details, I heard one rumor. I saw. I'm just seeing as Young Guns 3. There was some. I saw some title that might have been like Still Alive or something. I don't know what it was. It doesn't matter to me right now. There's so many ways you can go with this. Who knows? I don't see any announcement of de-aging. I think this is going to be. We're going to find. And by the way, one of the Young Guns 3, Dead or Alive. Thank you, David McKay. One of the greatest performances in the history of cinema. And if Alden Diaz is still stuffing Popeye's chicken into his gullet, you get on Letterboxd right now and you rate Young Guns and Young Guns 2 as the finest cinema around. One of the finest performances in cinema ever is Emilio Estevez as Brushy Bill Roberts, the old man at the beginning and the end of Young Guns 2, opposite Bradley Whitford as the lawyer. Takes place in 1950. You have room to play with this story. There is enough gaps in the history for me to credibly believe that Billy the Kid was not killed, was not shot in the back by Pat Garrett. And in the movie, he wasn't. Or was he? You got to find out. I am excited. Truthfully, I am really, really excited. This is the news we've been waiting for. This has been rumored for a bit. It was kind of soft announced. And there's a lot of, you can make the jokes about the age and everything. This is 30 years on, 40 years on. Doesn't matter to me. I am thrilled for this. And Young Guns is great. Young Guns 2 is a film. It's a film about who are the ones that are calling the others the bad guys. Who are these powers? Who are these upper echelon elite branding the rest of us scum? Who are they? Billy the Kid's a hero in these films. In real life, the history is muddled. Anyways. All right. So I talked about it. If you want to call in and have any questions, I'm happy to talk about Young Guns 3. And I'm gonna work up the nerve to reach out to John Fusco. Okay. Verbal Prairie Dog, and again, coming in with some great commenting here. Star Wars and Lord of the Rings are my favorite franchises. My wife and I watch Jaws 10,000 times. Completely understand what you're saying there. And Santa Jaws. Oh, did I miss the word Santa? Okay. That sounds great. Addie says, yet you won't watch Wicked. Nah. There's music at Young Guns 1 and 2. Okay? It's a musical in my heart. Billy, get your guns. Let's go to the phones. This next caller might be high. He claims he is, but legally we cannot say he is or not. He sometimes calls in with some wonderful Game of Thrones questions that I've been clipping out and putting up on Casserly Talk, because Alden Diaz and I and the entire Casserly Talk faces and crew, we're going to come back. Jared the TIE Pilot is here. How are you, buddy? Talk me through it.
Well, legally, as you said, we can't confirm. But Ken can see it right now. He asked what the delivery opportunities were.
I have a cursor over your face. Hold on. Oh, there. Oh, wow.
Oh,
that
yeah,
looks like something in the movie Wicked. It
Yeah,
looks like something that the wizard, the Wicked Wizard of Oz would have.
it looks like quite the little science experiment.
Okay.
I'll give it that.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
But-
Okay. LQ's trying to distract me. She says, by the way, there's supposed to be a movie about the Oasis reunion tour. Don't tempt me with a good time, LQ. All right. Jared. What do we
well,
got?
as I warned you last week, silly man, we've got a Game of Thrones episode to talk about.
Oh, yes,
To pick up. Before we get there, though, just because your love for Young Guns 2 did give me one of my favorite movie clapbacks of all time. That was when what was it? Doc was talking to I believe it was Booney. Long speech. You are not a god.
Yeah.
Well, pull the trigger and find out.
That's right. That's right.
I was like, oh,
You are
that's a good
not
one.
a god. We're all a bunch of Billy bastards. You shot the boy, Patsy. You shot the boy. Okay.
All
Um,
right.
Game of
So,
Thrones. You got a Game of Thrones question for
well, like I said, we're gonna pick up where you left off
me.
with
look
your
at Shaggy over there. Okay. I'm
you
letting it go.
you
Okay.
you shush young man.
Okay. Okay. Game of Thrones.
Ah, but you left us at a great episode of The Mountain and the Viper.
I did.
Uh, oh
Mm,
God, what a season 4, episode 8,
yeah.
written by David and Benioff themselves, directed by Alec Graves. And
Yeah.
it's one of those fun episodes when I rewatched it, in that it's everybody knows it for the basically the last 10 minutes, and you
Mm-hmm.
forget there's a lot in
Mm-hmm.
those first 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Mm-hmm.
basically, I want to give you, to save time, a quick little thing of kind of all the little plots, and then I want you to pick a plot that we'll discuss.
Okay,
So we
great. Yeah.
have,
Great, great, great.
yep. So we've got Masanya and Grey Worm given the looksies. We've
Oh, is
got,
that wait, time out. Is that the river scene?
it is.
All right. Got
Yep,
it.
it is. Then we've got Sansa helping Littlefinger? Question mark? Question mark. We've got,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Wait, is that the black dress moment?
it is. Yep,
It's been a
that's
while. Okay.
yep.
Okay.
Uh, Reek helps take the moat back for the family, which
So
leads to
good.
Ramsay being naturalized into the house.
Just oh god.
Oh, yep. Your boy Jorah gets called out this episode.
Oh yeah. Is it Barristan that does it in this one?
It does, man to man first. Wanted to give him that.
I love both of them so much. They're both right and they're both wrong.
uh,
Okay.
Another great little moment was Arya just bursting out laughing at the bloody gate because
Right?
Eliza was dead.
This is an all-star game. This is like everywhere you turn, it's a Hall of Famer.
I know. One scene that still gets me to this day is that sweet brother moment in the cell before the fight between the Lannister boys.
Oh, the cocoon, cocoon,
Yep.
cocoon, cocoon. Oh
Oh
my god.
God.
Yep.
Yep. And
Okay.
then
Okay.
and then the last 10 minutes basically dying over ego, as in my opinion. And an
Vengeance.
overall,
Yes.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
And an overall theme of the episode, in my opinion, is a
Mm-hmm.
theme of change. A lot
Mm.
of people go through big changes in this episode.
Mm.
Being dead
Mm-hmm.
is one of them.
Yeah, when you lose your head. Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
God.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what she got?
God, there's so many, and you're like, it was such a hard moment because I love Barristan Selmy. I love him in the books, but talking show, always talking show only with this. The moment when he throws down his sword and says, "A hole to die in," that's like one of my favorite deliveries in the show. When Joffrey is making him redundant at the end of season 1.
Oh yeah.
But it pained me, and because I'm so like Jorah, it's so like, but he's good. He made a mistake, but he knows it. He's gonna try to, but he's gonna try to, like, let me just squeak through. Can I get through this? Can I get through this? But that, I think that pays off later. But I gotta talk about one of my favorite moments: Ramsay Snow at the time, Roose Bolton,
Yep.
overlooking all of the North that they now control. That great scene with Reek, which sets it up, and that poor bastard who's holding Moat Kalen. He's like, I don't know. All right, his ears falling off and everything, and then just he's dead. His fragged by
Yep.
his men and then killed. But it leads to that scene. I love that scene. So I want to discuss that. Do you have questions? How are we working through this?
Oh no, I too love that scene because it goes in beautifully with that whole theme of change in the entire
Mm,
episode, where
mm,
Ramsay does what he does, as a Snow, more as a sick person and kind of fetishizing, like, because he can, he knows he can basically get
mm,
away with it. Now
mm,
it's tradition. Now it's for the
mm,
family. Now I have a reason to be this cruel, and more law behind. Like,
mm,
it makes
mm.
him more dangerous, and the love he shows for his father in that scene too is also like, if you took anything else and just that moment in the scene where you knew nothing else, just, hey, this kid took a fort for his family and now he's an official person. It's bloody beautiful.
Yeah, Ewan. How do you? I always forget to say his name. Ewan Rayon. Rayon is his name.
Yeah, I try not to. I'm
Um,
awful with this.
he's a fascinating performer. This, yeah, no, I think there's a lot of great transition and change in this set. And this also, we're looking at season 5, and so this is the end of the run here. But yeah, in season 4, the ideas of vengeance and why we do things, and the open holes in our soul. A lot of what's going on with Oberyn, but that scene. Why I cited a lot of in a show that is gray areas and morally complicated, and let's go into layered, stories of these characters. Who's good, who's bad? No, it's different than that. Joffrey, always pretty bad, but there was a little bit of like, I mean, he was bred for this, maybe. Like there's a little bit of how much was his fault, that kind of stuff holds up. Still, I was cheering when he choked too, but Ramsay is purely evil. From the moment you meet him, and with what's going on with the unturned Reek. But I'm always saying, you can't tell me he's 100% purely evil. 99.9, I'm with you. But that 1% is this scene where this guy just wanted to be accepted and loved from this impossibly hard and violent man, and getting that affirmation, getting the name Bolton, as dangerous as it is, and you hear the drums in his eyes. You
Oh
hear
yeah.
him like, I am now justified. I have earned my place, and everything I did to get here is going to be what I'm going to do, but even more. And he is evil. Don't get me wrong, but it's that moment where if I was to have a conversation with this actor, he came in the Collider. I wasn't there for this, and there was some talk of me coming in as a pinch hitter. I didn't really appear on the show that was going on live that time. It was after my time, but there was like talk of me coming in as a pinch hitter to talk some Game of Thrones. But I was like, I don't. He doesn't strike me as a guy that's just gonna easily talk about Game of Thrones. He was there to promote the Motley Crue movie, kind of like Adam Driver doesn't love talking about Star Wars when he's talking about other things. But I almost did it. Because that's the one scene I wanted to hear from him on. Of as an actor, where did you find and how did you find the humanity of him in that moment? I'm not rooting for him, but for a
No,
second I felt for him. It's one of my favorite Game of Thrones moments.
and that's a great way to bring it up too, because I feel like for Game of Thrones in particular, it's something I feel like all the roles and actors and whatnot can pull from. Because when you really think about it, acceptance from the parental type is a humongous theme
Yeah.
amongst
Yeah.
common and royals alike. I mean, we still see it in Hot D with the Valarian
Yep.
bastards and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
just the simple recognition, like a good job, or here's my like
Yeah.
all the kids basically have their own version of winning that game. And for Ramsey, it was getting the last name. He's won life as far as he's concerned. He
Mm.
doesn't
Yeah.
want the Iron Throne. He wants this.
Mm. 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 Yeah, that so true. And a lot of what's going on in the world today, it's just this. A lot of us just want to survive. A lot of us just want to feel loved. A lot of us just want to feel accepted. It's such a base level real thing. And you have the two bastards, the battle of the bastards that will emerge later on. You have these two bastards who I think were searching for the same thing, just raised different ways. And also, that makes me think more, and I always think highly of Ned Stark, but Ned takes his slings and arrows, especially as the show progresses. There's some mistakes that Ned had made,
Mm.
and maybe overprotecting, particularly the girls. There's that great scene of Sansa and Arya talking about, maybe father was too protective of us in a way. Anyways, different conversation, but Jon Snow seeking that out in his own way. Ramsay seeking it out. Great plot point. Great thing. Hot damn, I absolutely love that scene. God, that episode. It's
It's
you know what it is.
packed.
It's packed, but it's like Hard Home, Miguel Sapochnik's first episode. Hard Home is and should be remembered for 40. What is it? 40 minutes or so of just some of the most thrilling, scary, chill-inducing moments of Game of Thrones up at Hard Home. I love the Hard Home sequence. I can live within it for a long time. But it's got Cersei on the ground drinking up water. It's got so many other things going on in that episode too, which is why, especially when the show was at its peak, and I am a season 8 fan, as everyone knows, and I still think it peaked.
I'm with you.
The peak kept going, but little dip in season 7. Some moments in 6. Okay, but love it. I just had a conversation with someone the other day over breakfast, and they were like, I was always thinking of finally getting into that, but I quote, heard it ended bad. And I was at a diner and I literally like threw down my pancakes and was like, don't believe what you hear. Yes, it's not perfect. Yes, it did this. And yes. But no, don't let other people do that to you. Don't let other people start it, finish it, see for yourself.
Exactly.
And I think
there is no perfect show.
No, there's no perfect show. And a show that this show set the bar so high for itself, let alone other shows that follow.
Oh God, yeah.
Anyways, love that episode. Great stuff. Any other final thoughts on that before I take my shirt off? According to the
no, I just one little moment that I caught and then thought about for a second though was in the drawer moment when Barristan tells him you'll never be alone with her again, and then I actually thought about that for a second, and he's not. For the even when he comes back and they're all good, he is never ever alone in a room with her again.
Yes, until not counting the bodies around them until he dies. So yeah, absolutely love it. Oh, okay, you're right. I'll finish Hacks and I'll put DS9 and Wicked down the shelf, and you're right. I'll rewatch Game of Thrones. Okay, there we go.
All right, Jared. Well, we will be back next week on Thursday if you're still still able to stream, of course, with our famous episode 9s of The Watcher on the Wall.
Oh God damn it! So good. Oh, that's got the greatest speech on leadership ever. It's got the greatest speech on leadership ever. Oh my God, from Alistair Thorne. Okay, cool.
All righty.
I'm ready for it. Thank you, Jared.
Be safe, guys.
All right, bye-bye. I got so excited I almost removed myself from the show. Alden Diaz with super chat. Not quite a super blather. Take your shirt off or talk about the new IM. I have not lifted weights in 7 weeks. I've been so depressed. I've been doing a lot of cardio. Haven't lifted weights. I have not done my my Built by Becky Instagram workout, so no shirt coming off today. And Alden says the Hacks trailer for season 4 was so good. I haven't watched it yet because I haven't finished season 3. So all you mother truckers, don't spoil the end of season 3. We talk about your Hacks season 4 stuff. Laser Roll says the only episode of GOT I've ever watched is The Red Wedding. Yeah, that's fine. I'll allow that. That's all you need to do. Cam Stewart says perhaps blasphemous, but I've never seen GOT. You know what? I might say, well, yes, that's blasphemous. But then there's a bunch of Trekkies out there who are like, you've never watched DS9 with a Cisco. So we all got our sins against the fathers and mothers, the 7 gods and old gods in the new. All right. I am letting Becky down. All right. I think let's shift some gears here. Don't forget we got sports at the top of the hour. After that, 6:15. We will be doing some. What will we be doing? We'll be doing super blathers. I got right now. Okay, Chris, can you? I got 60 seconds of science. Chris King, can you hold on? Yeah, spring break is starting for him. He's going to be drunk on a beach by the weekend. All right, now let's do this. We love this segment. It is very important, but it's also fun. And I never really know what's happening because I'm kind of dumb. So when people start talking science, even if you tell me what's coming, I don't know. It's Addie, and it's 60 seconds of science. Dr. Addie, how are you today?
Up and trying, Ken. Up and trying.
And trying. That's a win. Take it as a win.
I had to go to the dentist today, so I don't know how much I'm winning.
Okay,
I'm grateful. I'm grateful everything has worn off and I can actually talk.
Oh, no, I think we would have enjoyed a 60 seconds of science with you still hopped up on goofballs from the dentist with cotton in your mouth. I think that would have been fun.
I do have 2 things before we get to the science.
Okay.
First of all, I want to thank Jared for inspiring me to start rewatching Game of Thrones today because I've been on spring break all week and run out of things to watch, which I know sounds impossible, but I need to be in specific moods for things.
Absolutely.
I am already on episode 6 of season 1, Golden Crown.
Crown for
we are hopping. We are ready.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Jared. Maybe by next week I will be episode 9 in season 4. We'll see how the rest of spring break goes.
I love that episode. Sorry. Yeah.
I have never seen either of the Young Guns movies. But
all right.
If Young Guns 2 is what you say it is, you will love Wicked. Because the story of Wicked is entirely about who gets to be the bad guy and who gets to make him the bad guy.
Okay. I'm listening.
Because what if the Wicked Witch of the West wasn't actually a bad guy?
So what so we got what are the two characters? Alfalfa and Galadriel, right? That's the characters we got on either side. Who are they?
Elphaba and Galinda.
I was close. Let's just be honest. I was closer than I thought. Okay. So it's reframing the propaganda that we all learned in the 1930s?
Essentially, yes. The Wizard of Oz is just a propaganda machine.
Okay, yeah.
Who needed the Wicked Witch of the West to be evil because the thing that brings people together the most is giving them a real good enemy.
It's the great fear of the other. It's the great fear of the other. All right. Okay. Look, I like it. One of the writers on it's Winnie Holzman, right?
Yes.
So I attended a class with Winnie Holzman years ago. She and her co-writer of Romeo and Michelle was a very kind of famous Groundlings alumni, and I actually attended a writing class under Winnie Holzman and was behind My So-Called Life, one of my favorite shows. So all right, I'm in. I'll get there.
Yeah, she wrote the book of the musical, but she also wrote the screenplay.
Right. All right, I enjoy themes, I enjoy power, and the tale of Alfalfa and Galadriel will come to this house eventually. All right, okay. But
Blathering that said, going to get this done.
That said, do watch Young Guns and Young Guns 2 in that order. Don't fuck up the order. It's important. The order is important.
So that I can watch Young Guns 3, Old Guns, New Tricks?
That's the one. That's the one. Okay. All right. But with that, we're going to transition into something serious, kids. No, really, something serious. 60 seconds of science. Let's see if we can find any hope, or let's see where we're at. What do we have?
All right, Ken. Here we go. The New York Times published a list of 15 things scientists have learned from the pandemic 5 years on. Amongst the items include teenagers need more sleep, flu season is preventable, and high heels are dangerous. 128 new moons have been discovered around Saturn, bringing its grand total to 274. Many are tiny, but as a wise Jedi Master once said, size matters not. No word yet if any are habitable alternatives to current circumstances. SpaceX scrubbed the launch of Crew 10 to the International Space Station, rescheduling it for tomorrow. This mission is part of ongoing efforts to retrieve astronauts that have been stranded on the ISS since last June.
One more day.
And finally, it seems the mission of the Environmental Protection Agency is no longer to, hold on, let me double check my notes here. No, I have that right. Protect the environment. It would seem a name change will be in order, as its new administrator has said the mission is to, quote, make it cheaper to buy cars, heat homes, and run businesses, end quote. Environment be damned. And that's 60 seconds of science. Ken, where would you like to go?
Look, the moment we can get a Panda Express on one of those moons, we're all in. We're going to be there. But I think the headline of the day is the EPA stuff. And again, this is why I'm glad you're here. Took a swing through the headlines. None of it sounds good. I don't like the dude talking about it. I also think this is kind of how they try to get you, this idea of we need cars cheaper. This will help. And you know, it's what I hear a lot. You know, I don't currently own a EV or a hybrid. Chance comes for me to take one. I probably will. But you know, when I even talk about it, there's some people in my life who are like, yeah, but the grid. Okay, let's fix it. This is, to me, how they get it. But you're smarter than me. You're professor of our resident professor of smart things. Your reaction is not giving me hope that this is a good thing.
Okay, so I have been on record on this show ranting about the EPA.
Mm-hmm.
That is not because I ever wanted the EPA to stop doing what its name suggests.
Right.
Like,
just like George Lucas isn't anti-union. He just wants them to do what they're supposed to do.
If anything, my rants about the EPA have been about the fact that for years, the EPA has lost its ability to protect the environment.
Right.
The original, the first administrator of the EPA, when it was created by President Richard Milhouse Nixon.
Heard of him. Voted
said
Republican, he did. Okay.
That the EPA has no obligation to promote agriculture or commerce, only the critical obligation to protect and enhance the environment.
That guy, my dog Checkers. That guy, he said it.
The administrator that he appointed, the first administrator of the EPA.
Okay.
He said the agency would be focused on research, standards, and enforcement in 5 areas: air pollution, water pollution, waste disposal, radiation, and pesticides.
Okay. And now here we are. So bad, obviously. Where do we go from here? What do we do? How does this what? Huh?
Yeah, so now the EPA, according to Mr. Zeldin, the new administrator of the EPA, is going to do their part to power the great American comeback. And in order to do this, we're going to unwind more than 24 protections against air and water pollution, overturning limits on soot from smokestacks, as well as restrictions on emissions of mercury. It's going to get rid of the good neighbor rule that requires states to address their own pollution when it's carried by winds into other neighboring states. Because as I explain to my students when I teach about air pollution has this really nasty habit of like not recognizing borders of countries or states when it travels. It also is going to eliminate enforcement efforts that prioritize the protection of poor and minority communities, because oftentimes the people who live in the worst polluted areas are there because they kind of don't have any other choice about where they live. Cancer alleys are a real thing.
Yeah.
And they're also it sounds a lot like what I've read is going to happen to the Department of Education, where it's just going to be gutted to the point of being useless.
Pointless. Yeah. Yeah.
That it's going to exist in name only.
Which is across the board what has been happening, part of the game plan. Yeah. And like I said, this is part of the overwhelm. This is part of the shock and awe that's going on. And the frustrating thing for me is when it comes to the conversation of climate change is the lack of knowledge even on it of so many people who don't want to engage with it. And I say this as someone who used to be in this boat. I would fall for but not all scientists agree. Yeah, but it really isn't going to be that bad. This is me 15, 20 years ago. This is inconvenient truth coming out. This is me going, come on now. And it for me to understand, it was just, it seems stupid. It was playing like a video game, like Red Dead Redemption, where they literally are playing with the idea of this. See this beautiful vista? Now see that smokestack that's now been put there, and they have lines and dialogue about it. And it seems dumbed down, but that's what I think needs to get out there of why this matters to people. And why I'm an example of someone who changed their ideas, tunes, and perceptions. And everything about me has changed over the years. And Addie, how do you get it out? How do we fight this? It's impossible. Maybe it seems. How is you as someone in this field, not necessarily the EPA world, but as someone who deals with this stuff daily, and you're teaching the kids, how do you do it?
So I am, though, like, I don't work for the EPA, but my research is entirely in air quality. So this is going to directly affect me more so than some of the other stuff has, because all of a sudden everything that I do is pointless to the powers that be. I'm not saying I don't think it's pointless. I think what I do is very important.
But to the bottom line. Yeah.
To your point, it's not just people like you, Ken. I myself, until about 13 years ago, also didn't think climate change was a thing. I thought it would, and it wasn't until I saw a presentation from a scientist that just presented like the facts that I was like, oh wait, that makes a lot of sense. Of course that's what's happening. Like that, that's how that works.
I like hearing that too. I think I want to be even more open about that kind of stuff to track my own changes. And like I'm cynical on recycling after you watch the video on Climate Town of the fraud that recycling is, but it doesn't mean I stop. But as someone who was there, because this general they do such a good job of politicizing it in that cynical way, right? Where the reason not speaking for you, the reason I was scoffing at it was, oh, what, Al Gore said it? Because it was a culture war at play. And I don't know how to push it out beyond those boundaries for people to realize, much like the great evil coming down from the north in Game of Thrones, if we put aside our differences, we might fight this, a la the ozone layer in the late 80s. I don't know how to push it out of those walls to reach people.
Yeah, it's hard. I just taught about the ozone layer before we went on spring break and reminded them all to wear their sunscreen. And
what are you, some kind of expert?
I share a quote with them when I do that from one of the guys who won like the Nobel Prize for the work for the hole in the ozone layer, and he was directly asked in 2010, like, we fixed that, why can't we do anything about climate change? And it makes a lot of sense what he said, and I'm going to butcher it because I don't have my notes in front of me, but he essentially said that like there was a real problem that people could perceive in the hole in the ozone layer that did not ask them to radically change their lives in any way, shape, or form in order to fix. You still could buy aerosolized cans. You still could buy refrigerators. You still could buy all of the products that CFCs were in. We just put different chemicals in them to make them run.
That is an amazing point. Brilliant point. I'm trying to find the words. This is, I think it look at COVID 5 years out, right? Look at COVID. Yeah. To me, it is an empathy issue. It is what I talked about at the top of the show. It is frustrating. It is frustrating when someone says, I just got fired by Elon, now I care. It's frustrating, but it's a reality. And what you're describing, it's the paper straw effect. Because guess what? I hate paper straws too. I think there's some better ones out there, and we've improved the technology. But yeah, no, absolutely. I halfway through my lemonade when I'm drinking it, yes. So it's so easy to turn that into what you're talking about. I'm not affecting my life. You want me to wear this mask? Yeah, for other people. No, on my face?
Well, there's that piece of it. And then you have people who, maybe in 1 or 2 generations, they have raised themselves up out of like poverty or low income to being, upper middle class or what have you. And not having to want for things. And now you have the gall to tell me that my lifestyle is causing this to happen and I can't live the lifestyle that I have earned the right to.
Yeah.
How dare
you? Yeah. I have this wonderful lawn. You want me to not want, you want me to replace it? I have
this wonderful lawn. Look at this brand new car I was able to afford. Look at this great big house I bought that I now have to heat and air condition. Like, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I also don't want to stop driving my car or heating my home or whatever, you want to use it as an example. But the reality is these things are a problem. And I've always sort of pitched it to family members who are less convinced from like the scientific aspect of it. I'm like, okay, but wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to buy foreign oil anymore? Like if I can't sell you on fossil fuels are bad, what if we just didn't have to buy Middle Eastern oil anymore? Would that sell you on it?
It's fascinating because often I hear about the energy dependence, right? We shouldn't be energy dependent in other countries, and you're literally going, well, this could be part of that. And obviously things above my pay grade and mental capabilities, but I love this again. I love breaking it down and hearing from you. Shout out to Eli and Chad who says, honestly, I wish half my professors could be like Addie. That's the truth. I wish we all were learning from Addie. We are now. Anyways. It is about, even down to say, look, I know not everyone wants to, or even should be a vegan. I have some friends who are like, I can't be vegan. I'm allergic to half the stuff in there. But even when that conversation comes up, it's so quickly boiled down to, what, you don't want to eat steak like a man? Like it becomes a social issue, a cultural issue, and a political issue. As opposed to, well, here's the benefits for you, but also the environment, the earth. And, well, I want my steak, which I get. Because Daddy wants his cheese. I'm with you. That's why I backslid a lot off my vegan lifestyle that I adopted in 2020 to 2022. So yeah, you're speaking some truths, Addie, and I just like to hear it. That you framed it in a way I hadn't thought of before.
Yeah, I've had that argument with people where I've been like, methane is 4 times the potent greenhouse gas that carbon dioxide is. Carbon dioxide is the one we talk about because it's the one there's a great abundance of, but methane is 4 times as good at retaining heat as CO2, like molecule for molecule. And so I have said that to people and they've been like, what? So what? You're going to be against cow farms now? And it's like,
right.
No, I also like cheese and steak.
Right.
Cheese a little bit more, and ice cream and milk and all the things that come from cows. But you also have to be aware of the fact that that is, both things can be true. It can be true that I like all the things that come from cow farms, and cow farms might be a problem because cow farts are a problem.
Yeah. And it becomes this is why the most effective thing and that goddamn debate between Trump and Harris was they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. We laughed at it, but a lot of people went, sounds good. That's what I heard. And it really does come down to that. And why you're doing the good work out there still, even if it's just in a classroom talking to kids, the future. I think it's important. Well, all right. I love it. Don't love it, but I love the segment. I love you talking about it. We'll keep up on it. Yeah, we'll see.
I apologize for the no fun stories tonight because I am on spring break. I wasn't on campus, so I didn't have access to my normal science sources. So I had to get all of my stories from the New York Times, which, let's face it, has no hope.
I canceled my subscription to the Times last month, which quite frankly wasn't for any principled stand. I needed it for research for my last job, but then, and now it's done. So I canceled it. But I still love getting the email prompts that are a reminder of, maybe I did a good thing. Addie, thank you for 60 seconds of science in the segment. I appreciate what you do here and out there in the teaching world.
You are welcome, Ken. I look forward to Steve talking about sports because I requested a story from him.
You did. I saw that. And I'm going to be caught up to speed on that there, too. All right. Addie, thank you. We'll see you soon.
See you, Ken.
All right. There's Dr. Addie. Give her a follow. As always, doing the important work here. All right. We got a couple calls. Let's see. I got a pair of Chris's. Steve, you're good. You're good holding on for about 15. All right. I got a pair of Chris's. Let's roll a dice and let's go to Mr. Chris King, who's also on spring break, or as we used to call it as a kid before the woke times, Easter break. But you all hate Jesus, Chris. No?
I mean, how'd you know? That's why we planned it a month early this year. How you doing, Ken?
I've had better weeks, but also I've had worse weeks. So we're good. We're good.
Well, I had 2 potential questions for you, but I know you got another call and we got Steve, so I'll drop one as a super blather.
Okay.
So I'll let you choose. I'll go with the one first because I think I'll go with this one because I think we were talking about Young Guns and revisiting things.
Yes.
What do you? I guess I mean I think you kind of answered a little bit with Young Guns and Young Guns 2 with revisiting like art, the art you revisit. But what is, I guess, what do you find? What's the value or the purpose of revisiting art to you? Because I've gotten into some conversations with a friend of mine, and he's a musician. He's played in some decently successful bands over the years, and he's like, if it doesn't grab you sometimes on the first time, he's like that first time watch means a lot to him. I'm always like, well, I want to give something a second chance, or I love to go back to it. And this was also spawned by I'm rewatching this little Star Wars show that's coming out next month that might have had its creator doing some live chat earlier today. I don't know, but
I watched that. Shout out to Ash Crossan for making that work, because the biggest media company in the world barely could pull off StreamYard. But yes, it was interesting. Saved by Ash. But yes, okay. So you were watching Ender. All right.
I was watching Ander, and I'll tell you that I'll try to pull up the exact line. It was I've been watching over the last couple of nights. I watched episode 7 today, and it was such a simple line. It was a conversation between Cassian and Marva, and it's when he's trying to get her to go with him to leave, go to somewhere warm and easy, and she says she won't go, and he goes, and she's like, I want you to have some peace, and he's like, I won't have peace because I'll be worrying about you. And she said, and hold on, because I love what she said. She goes, that's just love. Nothing you can do about that. And to me, it was one of those moments where, last couple of years, I've mentioned on the show before, my mom, unfortunately, she died of brain cancer. And my grandfather before that had multiple strokes. So I've been a caretaker for a lot of my life over the last better part of a decade. And, so that idea of always worrying about somebody, I always viewed it in a negative light, but hearing it of that's love. And then I think back to how my mom, I always used to joke, because she was always the type, like, I'd go into this, I'm living outside of Philly, relatively safe area outside of Philly, but she'd always be like, text me when you get home, text me when, make sure you're safe and everything. And I was always like, oh, my mom's such a worrywart, but I never, but I never thought about it as love. And so I found some real value in, like, I'm rewatching the show because it's like, oh, I want to freshen my head for April.
Yeah.
But I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, wow, this just made me, like, really remember my mom in this awesome way. So yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
So yeah, first of all, in that scene, in the moment, I love the moment. You're almost making me experience real life emotions here. Which is better than the heart attack I thought I was having Monday versus in Force Center. I can't even say the words. My brain is still messed up. I love that moment with Marva because it's also a bit of a bookend. And I'm not saying Tony Gilroy did this on purpose, though. He's a smart cat. It is kind of a weird bookend to me of some of the attachment stuff and some of the stuff going on in Revenge of the Sith. What I dealt with my own mother. I love my mother to death, and she's a worrier too, and we've had the discussions that are not easy to have and not necessarily fully understood and not maybe clearly stated by me, but there is a thought when that fear drives it over into attachment, that is this dangerous kind of possession where it is no longer about that worry that Ander is feeling in that moment is not about her, it's about him. And it is egocentric in a way of where, I remember saying this to my mother, but like, you don't want me to die in a plane crash. I don't either. But I don't think you're worried about me dying. I think you're worried about how you're going to deal with it. And therefore, your worrying is a natural parental instinct and a natural human instinct, but now you're pushing it over a little bit to where it is restrictive. It's restrictive a bit onto our relationship. Whereas what is being explained by Marva and Andor, I think, is a very healthy example of, that's love. That's love. Your worry and my worry, it's constant, but you have to let that go. You have to live with it. You have to accept that that's part of this game. That is part of what we're here for. And that just makes the love even stronger and better and more robust and more real versus a grip. And that's what I struggled against a lot of my life. At no fault to my parents at all, or my mother at all, or any parent out there, or any partner, any friend. We all worry is natural. Worry is natural, as is anger. As Padme, the most insightful Star Wars character of all, outside of anyone who's a Jedi, and even then, she supersedes the knowledge of many Jedi. Anakin, anger is normal, but you can't let it control you, and it's always fear that drives it. And I love that moment with Marv. It's a powerful moment of her saying, almost flippantly, yeah. That's love, dummy. You can't worry about that. You can't worry about that worry. Anyways, I love that moment. Now let's get to maybe your actual question.
Oh yeah, no, thanks. No, I appreciate you saying it, because it's one of those moments where, again, like, you're watching it all, and I wasn't, obviously we weren't binging it, but whatever, however many couple of years ago, and there's so much stuff and life is so busy. It's like, wow. I was like, I remember the scene, but I don't remember it hitting as hard. So thank you for saying that. But yeah, for you, what's I mean, I could rouse some stuff off for me, but I want to hear from you. What are some things that, like, what are some things you find the value in revisiting, but also what do you think is just the power of revisiting, or I guess, like, going, just going back to art, or even some favorites,
Yeah, the nostalgia is dangerous, but I really brush up against how it's used a lot. That's why I said it's weaponized. There's so many Star Wars is out of ideas. The fuck it is. They're not out of ideas. Just because you recognize a character name does not mean the ideas don't have value.
Go watch Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, but also I think there's great value in going back and exploring a character at a different point in their lives, or re-exploring or exploring for the first time how they got to be that character that we fell in love with. If it's a tale in a world that you love, if you don't love the stuff, or you don't want to revisit it, or you like me and you'll never watch Deep Space Nine, you don't need to. It's fine. And nostalgia goggles, it's a real thing. I get it, but I rebuff against the idea that there is no value in going back to explore the things and the stories and the characters that we love that formed us. This stuff formed us. If it's into your soul, I'm not going to go back and revisit DC Cab, the Mr. T movie from the early 80s, because it's a punchline for me. It's not anything that I want to revisit. But I'm going to revisit Star Wars over and over and over again, because you just talked about it. Our lives change. Our lives happen. We grow. And there's things I get from Return of the Jedi that I did not get in the theater on May 25th or whatever it was in 1983 in San Luis Obispo, California, because I couldn't. I was seven. I get them now, and then I also think it's valuable to explore the characters. I don't immediately roll my eyes at anything that comes back anymore. Spinal Tap. The sequel to Spinal Tap is coming our way in September, and all reports on the ground are it's worth it. It could be done bad. It could be a cash grab, but it also could be three of the most talented, comedic, and dramatic performers of our time. Harry Shearer, who was a bit of a prick, Michael McKean, Christopher Guest, a little stoic, exploring characters and getting to do it, and no one telling them that you can't do it anymore. We also, from the 80s on, live in a world where if you're a rock band and you have a hit in 1987 and you want to keep going, you can. You're a human. You're an artist. You have points and perceptions. You have ideas. No one should tell you to stop. No one say, what a nostalgia act. Yes, again, there are cash grabs that a lot of people can point to. I'm a Kiss fan. The cash grab from that band is epic and legendary, and I've been there for some of it. I played Kiss mini golf at the casino. The cash grab is real. But also, even today, if Kiss was like, we'd like to re-explore the themes around your man being worth a deuce. I'm there for it. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's see. Yeah. And that's to me the value of revisiting these things, and the value of letting storytellers revisit the stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I love that you brought your own journey into it, but also the artist's journey into it. I think that's a really great way of looking at it, because it's us as enjoyers of the art, right? Of readers or watchers of the art or listeners of the art, but it's also the artists themselves that, like, hey, I want to go back to what I said when I was younger. I mean, one of the things, if I can, I'll share very quickly 2 stories about myself, because I got my master's in writing, and the short story that was my, like, kind of really like the impetus for my whole thesis project, which was a novel through short stories. Inspired by our boy Tom Parada from his.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. Bad Haircut. But the story, I wrote the story my senior year called At the Movies, very much inspired by my dad and mine's love of James Bond, and how my dad is constantly moving. He's just always been a workaholic kind of guy. And how when we would go to the movies together to see James Bond or even watch them at home, it's the one time I could see him sitting still. And my professor in my senior year was like, really loved that story. And then I was thinking about it, years after taking years off from school and then going back to grad school. And I was like, let me go back to that story. And that was kind of like the basis, the inspiration for my master's thesis. And then as a viewer, something I can think about is the movie 500 Days of Summer, which came out in 2009. So I was 17 that summer it came out. Yeah. And another story for a different time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead, Ken.
I love 500 Days of Summer. It's one of 2 movies that ended relationships for me.
Same. So that's what I was about to joke about, because my joke is always about a month and a half later, my girlfriend broke up with me, and I always joke, I go, yeah, she got ideas.
For me, it was crying and realizing I think I'm Zooey Deschanel.
Okay, that's
awesome.
awesome.
Summer. Yeah. I think of Summer. Anyways, and the other one was the movie Closer. That's a different story.
But yeah, I guess I related to Tom when I was 17. I felt like this, I can look back at it now. Look back at it now as this, like, I had, the quote unquote nice guy kind of syndrome of like, but idealizing women in this way and falling in love with the ideas of them. And now I look back at it now and I'm watching it and I'm like, man, this movie is so great at how it doesn't even paint either of them as the villain. It just paints them both as flawed people. And I think that's why it's one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best romantic comedies of the last 20 years.
I'm with you, and an amazing soundtrack. This is a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Because I also think I would love to actually direct it. This is a movie too that, and I think the director maybe put his bleep in the mashed potatoes at one point. I can't remember, but it's a movie that often I hear younger generations, and I'm not going to generalize, but here's where we're at, who you point this movie as quote problematic, when I really think they're just pointing at flawed characters, and the movie owns that, and that's the point.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we can have another conversation about it at another time. I want Steve and the other folks to get in here, Ken. But I appreciate the time as always. I don't know if I'll be checking in next week. I will be actually literally being on a beach getting drunk because I'm going to St. Thomas with some friends. So,
please report back afterwards and do not get arrested and just get back in the country.
All right, I'll do my best. Take care, Ken. Thank you.
Chris Cake checking in. There we go. We got sports a bit, but I got a double Chris. I got a double shot of my baby Chris's love. That's just weird. All right, let's bring the greatest librarian in Los Angeles County onto the show. It's my buddy Kiefer. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing even better now that I hear your voice. How are you on this fine day? How are you, my 1990s alt rock brother?
Doing well. I got out of work late, so I don't know what y'all been talking about for the last hour. But I did hear Chris's call there, so
that's all you need. But I love taking calls from drivers because now I'm worried that I'm going to distract you. What's on your mind?
You're not a distraction. So I not to brag or anything, but I do listen to all your shows, Force Center, Anytime with Ken Dalton, Pop Rock and all that good stuff. And I've noticed through the course of the shows, you have a very dedicated listener base. You've got Addie calling in all the time. You got Kingsport Cal. You got the Tide Pilot guy, all that stuff. So
that's what I call him.
I have a pitch for you. Instead of the Team Zoc merch.
Yeah,
I think you need to rebrand it as the Cult of Ken.
The Cult of Ken.
And then hang on, stay with me here, buddy. Following up on that, next year you need to have KenCon.
Well, KenCon's I want to do KenCon.
Okay.
I do want to do KenCon.
All right.
I'm worried about a white man with a bushy beard calling himself a cult leader. But you have
that joke in your act. But like I said, you have a dedicated base. You've got, like I said, you got the regular callers. You got Steve. You got Romo in the chat. You got Brian Tiller, BC Tiller. I think you could do it. I think we're a cult almost, and I think KenCon should happen. Is what I'm saying.
Ranger Donald wants to know what color is the Kool-Aid we're all drinking. Well, whatever it is, Ranger, you're the one packing it up and sending it to us. So look, I'm on board for KenCon, by the way. We wanted to do Afternoons Con back in the day. There's Wanger Con, all those things. But KenCon, I got to figure out where to do it. You know,
Smokehouse, right?
Well, the smokehouse would be the dinner spot. That's. But if we're gonna, if I'm gonna trick all these people in this cult, including Brandon Hanna, who says, "Will KenCon be catered by 7-Eleven and can I have a booth?" yeah, Brandon, you can absolutely have a booth.
7-Eleven Replenish will be the beverage of choice.
Yeah, 7-Eleven Replenish, indeed. Yeah. But I think the Saturday night is some dinner and dancing at the smokehouse.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because my big birthday's coming up a year from now.
Okay.
And I'm like, what do I do for that? And I want to do a comedy special and stuff, but I'm like, what if I had so much fun at Sean and Jill Sullivan's wedding in October. I wish all of you could have been there. Then I'm like, hey, what if we just throw a dance party and I can dance to Chappell Roan songs on my 50th birthday with people? So maybe that's KenCon.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good indeed. Okay.
All right. That's all I got for you.
Romo says, get in, bitches. We're getting Detroit-style pizza. And that would be served on Saturday. We'd have a little floor. Brandon Hanna's going to have a panel. Addie's going to have a panel. Everyone will have a panel. We'll just rotate it out. But, Chris, I love that. And we got to do some Smokehouse too soon. And, Jared the TIE Pilot, a.k.a. that TIE Pilot guy. Ken Napzok. I don't hate it.
Better.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chris Kiefer.
All right. Take care. Love you, man.
Love you too, man. All right. That's one of the sweetest people I know in the world. Alden says Ken live at 50 is going to be at the new Queen at Wembley, or maybe it's a Journey live in Houston. All right. On the show now, he recently shaved his beard, but we're not holding that against him. Let's reframe that camera. There we go. It's producer Steve. A little bit of scruff coming back in. You're an apple scruff, my friend. You're an apple scruff. How are you?
We're getting there. We're on our way back. Give me one more week.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird, like, you're just like, I thought this grows fast. Like this what's on my face has just sprung up in the last week. Where like even you can kind of see it. I have the backlighting of my studio. Mm-hmm. It's going through the beard right there. Okay, but anyways, you look good. All right, we got a lot to get to, and I want to eat some mac and cheese later. So I don't want to. We got a lot. That's on my point. It's sports with Steve.
We got sports, yeah. So I don't have any like bleeding heart empathies about or bleeding heart essays about empathy today. So we can just go right into sports, and then we have a sports date that I'm very excited about today. So
so we've been doing this sports speed dating thing, and the sports dating thing. Baseball's about ready to come back. Football's away, though free agency we'll talk about. So last time out we dated rugby. How's that going?
So yeah, rugby it was like cool, I guess. I mean, I enjoyed learning about rugby a little bit. There was that whole Six Nations thing, and I was reading up on what the winning scenarios were because, it was they do like a point system for their tournament, and so all sorts of shit can happen this weekend for somebody to win, which is cool. But it's fine. Like I was like, I got a drink with rugby, and it was like we were cool, but I don't know. There weren't sparks necessarily, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, like you said goodnight. No one leaned in. Yeah.
Right.
It's
totally.
Good. Okay. Yeah. What's the next date? What are we doing?
So our next date, and this is tough because I feel bad after this one, just because after the whole like EPA talk with Addie and everything, and this sports date's gonna feel kind of hard to defend, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Yes.
This week's sports date. Oh, let me just get into gear here.
Get that
Formula One is this week's sports date. The sexiest, fastest sport in the world, in my opinion. I'm familiar with this one. So, Ken, do you have any knowledge of motor racing, auto racing, Formula One?
Yes, a little bit. There was that time in the 90s and maybe even the early 2000s. Oh, and then again, I had a roommate who was he loved speed racing, like not the drug. So like we play Gran Turismo, like we have a lot of fun on the PlayStation. He was a car guy. So there has been periods of my life in which I have watched racing, specifically Formula One. NASCAR a little bit, but not as much. And I have maybe been on record as saying it's the sport where just you turn left for 500 laps. Might have been me, but I'm not saying that's right.
Well, there are different flavors to racing, right? Like a lot of things with love, there are a lot of different ways you can approach it. And to me, I just see Formula One as really, a lot of people see it as the pinnacle of motorsport. Right. I see it as the pinnacle of really hot dudes going 200 miles an hour. Ken, this is the best looking sport in the world, and I won't have anyone tell me otherwise.
Why
but we'll get to that in just a moment. Okay. I'm gonna get to that, but here we go. So let's introduce the folks to Formula One. We're gonna get to because I've got notes. Don't worry, okay? And I'm glad you're familiar, so this is good. But just for those who aren't aware, and yes, just full disclosure, the blind spot here is that this sport is associated with private jets, billionaires, Saudi blood and oil money. A lot of carbon emissions, but they do try to be more sustainable. They're not totally oblivious to it. The cars are hybrids now, so they're not just doing these. To be fair, the cars aren't really the pollution. It's all the RVs and private jets and all the other shit that goes around it. That's the actual pollution. But hey, it's the optics that matter, really, right?
And they're just burning cow farts right in front of everybody in the.
Absolutely. So, anyways, putting all of that aside. Who doesn't like watching really cool-looking cars go 200 miles an hour, driven by just absolute supermodels?
Named Mario and Ulf and whatever. Dale. No, that was NASCAR. I agree with you. I'll take a shot at it. I'll make fun of it a little bit. But it might be, if this is in terms of romance and dating, maybe this is the Bogey and Bacall thing where I'm picking on it because I feel as though I want to get its attention.
And Formula One feels that way about the rest of us because unless you are like a millionaire and can actually afford to go to this damn thing and enjoy it, it doesn't really care about you anyway. So this is very much hey, this is just, we met at the high stakes bar that I'm probably shouldn't really be at because I can't really afford it. I'm just here because I'm on a work trip kind of thing. Yeah. You're here all the time.
We are the Jack Dawson and Formula One is the Rose.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a great analogy. That's perfect. But yeah, just quick. I have some notes on Formula One, so I'll just get through these just for the folks at home. So, Formula One, the first Grand Prix, World Championship Grand Prix was in 1950 at Silverstone in the UK. Silverstone was they converted it from an air base from World War II, and it was a racing circuit that is still in use today, and is one of the real big famous races. Okay. I'm scrolling through my notes. I had to do that off the dome here because we're getting through our stuff. So currently, the cars go over 220 miles an hour. There's 23 races in a season. You've got a set of regulations essentially that allow for competitiveness, but also like really cool engineering opportunities. And the sport can get like really nerdy from how close it is. We're talking about tenths of a second, hundredths of a second between these guys. And they're not just all left turns. That's what's the great thing about Formula One. This isn't stock car racing where they're just on ovals. We're talking about roads and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Okay. So, a lot of people think it's just the Indy 500, right? Where they're just going in a circle. No. We're going around the streets of Monaco by yachts, and we're going through all sorts. They have a race in Vegas now that is actually pretty cool, aside from everyone who lives in Vegas and hates it. But the race itself is pretty cool from a sporting standpoint. Remember,
don't stop and watch. Don't you stop and watch.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But remember, blinders, we're sport, right? We don't, Capitalism is good in this regard, Ken. We're consuming big time. We're consuming. So anyway, there's 2 drivers to a team. There's 10 teams in the sport. And over 23 races, you get points for if you finish in the top 10. And at the end of the season, there are 2 championships that you can win. There's a driver's championship and a constructor's championship, so like a team championship. And this sport is usually pretty top heavy. But one of the great things about it is even if you're not a fan of like the winning team or the top team, it still is fun to see who gets 14 to 10 to 12 to 8, because it makes a huge difference in how your team can progress from one year to the other based on prize money and development and all that kind of stuff. And Formula One has exploded in popularity in the U.S. in the last few years because Drive to Survive was a really popular Netflix show that came about when COVID happened. We had nothing else to do. We were looking for new sports to get into. And so a lot of people started watching Drive to Survive, and it got huge.
So COVID
that brought a lot of people to
Formula One and Joe Rogan.
Could have been worse. Well, that and we got The Last Dance early too. I remember that. That's like the thing
true. They did
that was the thing I
save
remember
America.
most. Yeah,
yes, absolutely. Okay.
that was like the last good thing ESPN probably did for us. But
Yeah. That's right.
so yeah.
All right.
But let me get to the real thing. These guys are really good looking. Like, these are just supermodels going 200 miles an hour. For the last several years, including this year, the Ferrari F1 team is just the absolute best looking team in sports, any sport, anywhere. It helps that there's only 2 people, so the average can't be like brought down or anything. Like, you know, both guys are also just really attractive. So if you're into the sports and the action and the racing, there's all that there for you. If you just want the Real Housewives of sport, of motor racing, you have that too, because it's very drama filled. There's only 20 guys. There's a lot of competition. They're all.
Do they fight? Do they fight still? Sometimes
they don't. No, they don't fight. It's more like NBA, where it's like they like fake fight, or they kind of like get a little gassed up at each other. But they're also, some of them are fairly close now. That there's not really as many beefs that there used to be. They used to be heated. Like, it used to be. Yeah. Really a lot more, but nowadays everyone's kind of nice. It's like a lot of sports though.
You see
Everyone's
like
just
guys
nice to each other.
named Rusty and Kurt punching it out in the pit. Yeah, okay.
No, there are still some heated rivalries, but they don't boil over quite as much. But there are certainly dudes who don't like each other. That's for sure.
Are there any lady racers going these days?
No, there are not currently. There are not. There are women in lower editions of Formula Racing, and they do have an all women. It's called Formula Academy, where a lot of the teams in Formula One sponsor 2 women in what's essentially like a Formula 3 or 4 car in its own kind of trying to get more women into the sport. Essentially, it is something they're trying to do. But no one's. I don't know if a women's ever been in. Maybe not. Maybe there has been, but not in a long time. So
Formula One, right?
Yeah.
Which one did Danica Patrick do?
IndyCar.
Right.
She was in IndyCar. Yeah, and NASCAR. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a problem.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, she's unfortunately part of some F1 coverage when they're in the States, and that's always tough to listen to. And even sometimes you can even tell like the commentators are just like,
I know. I mean,
it's just like she's talking about lizard people and the brakes and everything.
I had a crush on her back in the day, and it puts you in a weird headspace. Anyways, okay, this is Formula One. Hot guys, Jared the Tide Pilot's leaning in. Hot guys racing cars.
Yeah, I mean, heck, even my glasses are getting foggy just like talking about it. I'm just,
Absolutely. Okay.
But
all
yeah,
right.
Formula One. Let's see how it goes. I'll give it a chance. You give it a chance. We'll see how it goes.
I'll
We'll
watch
see
a
what it's
race. Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch the highlights of. I'll tell you what. I'll watch that marble racing show on YouTube, and I'll say I watch Formula One.
Well, here's the thing: if you're totally brand new to it and you're interested, you want to kind of give it a shot, I would say check it out on Netflix. Check out the show on Netflix.
Okay.
Watch the first few episodes. See if it interests you. They do a good job of kind of reeling you in. The season starts this weekend. Practice is coming on in 2 minutes. The very first practice of the season starts in 2 minutes. The first race is in Australia this week. So the race is on like super late at night if you're on the East Coast. It's a little bit better for you guys out west. But yeah, the first race of the season is this.
Time out, Steve. Say it.
Well,
Why?
Because the sport's in Australia.
Because this is the superior time zone. Ranger Donald, who is a Formula One fan, says there's only been 2 female F1 drivers ever.
Okay.
Cool. And Ranger Donald travels to Monaco. Did I read that comment right, Ranger Donald? You travel to Monaco to watch the race. Okay.
That's incredible.
All right. Okay. We'll watch practice. We'll report back on that then, I guess.
Well, I'll go watch practice later. But it is fun.
Will McLean asks the question that's on my mind. How long do the races take if it's a time commitment? Where are we going with that?
This is a great, and I'm gonna stop the sound at this point. That's a great question. About 2 hours is what's great. It's kind of like soccer in that you can kind of bank on, assuming there's not like a weather delay or they're like something like that happening, or there's like a big giant red flag that really screws up. Even if that happens, they have like time constraints so that a race will only, assuming conditions allow for the race to finish, they will finish a race in like 2.5 hours or something. They have like a set time limit, so shorter than most American sports games, honestly.
Okay, I love everything about that. Okay, time. I like 2 hours is fair.
Yeah.
2 hours is fair. Okay, that's good. I like it. Formula One, that's our date. We're going to see how it goes. We'll see if it's more than drinks. Someone going to lean in. We'll find out. Will someone named Mario sweep away our heart here? There we go.
That's our sports date.
What else is going on in sports then?
Yeah, we got a lot of other, there's a lot of stuff going on. Free agency continues, but we're kind of at the point where we're talking about backup quarterbacks and backup running backs getting signed. The only big domino left to fall really is Aaron Rodgers. I haven't looked at any news in the last 2 hours, but as of right now, I don't think he's been signed by anybody.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the two places he's being rumored to. So yeah, that's where we're at with free agency. Russell Wilson will still kind of be a kind of a domino, but
maybe. Yeah, no, it's been. I like what the Dolphins have done. This was not a giant, big, super-sized free agency class. So the biggest news from I know the sports is not the Dolphin report, but the Dolphins getting 4 compensatory picks. We got 11 in the draft. That's where we're going to make our moves. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and you guys, Alexander Madison, running back, they signed today too. I saw. So Dolphins are doing some stuff. A guy from the I think he was on the Vikings. So yeah, Dolphins are making some moves. Speaking of the Dolphins, good segue. Okay. Your boy, a little history lesson today for the kids out there. 25 years ago on this day, Dolphins legend Dan Marino announced his retirement.
25 years ago.
25 years ago today, it was Dan Marino's retirement press conference.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what to wow.
Yeah.
That happened when I was in LA. That's why I'm having a brain aneurysm on that. That seems like yesterday. It's a lifetime ago.
A long time ago. And I was gonna make a Dolphins playoff joke somewhere in there, but that's not nice. But I do hope that your boy Mike McDaniel keeps his job.
No, we have not won since. Ranger Donald says it. They've done nothing since. It's true. It's true. It's tough. It's tough when your sports stars retire. When your sports stars retire, it really, really messes with you, and it's a dividing line in your life where you look up to Dan Marino and Gary Carter, and then they retire. Or in one case, Gary Carter passes away. Your childhood passes away. It's a really 25 years of me being an adult. That's what that is. That's what that is. All right. That's it.
A couple baseball things really quick because we promised Addy would talk about baseball.
Oh, yeah. What's going on with this story?
So we'll do the Rays story second. Really quick, though, I do want to mention, did you hear about the Texas Rangers and their hats? Well, first of all, the MLB put out all these City Connect hats, and so they did this dumb thing where they put the team's logo on the front of the hat, and this is what the Texas Rangers hat looks like. And for anyone who says, for anyone who speaks Spanish, that just says boobs on a hat.
Giggity. Yeah. Okay. No one ran through. Okay.
Yeah, whoever's in charge of like the apparel at the MLB is doing a horrible job because last year the jerseys were like a joke. The pants were like see-through. Remember, like they had a whole thing with the pants being see-through.
And white pants, by the way. I see London, I see France. Yeah, what's going on the fields. Yeah, okay.
And then they do this where this is every hat, right? Every hat is the team's like city, and then they have the logo right in the middle of it. So Boston kind of looks like Bob's in a weird way. So it's all bad. And so they actually recalled this one. This one's been pulled off the shelves, and they are currently going for like $900 on eBay.
A Texas boob hat? It should.
A Texas boob hat, $900 on eBay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any need for one, but I want one.
It's pretty great.
That's going to be good. All right, the final story going on in Tampa Bay. What's the update on that? Because I do not know much about this.
So this is a sad story. It's a sad story for like a few reasons. Yeah, I mean, if you're a Rays fan and you're like. And think the team is going to move, it's sad because those are always the people who get screwed in these situations are always the fans. Like we can always like bitch about billionaires not getting what they want, of course.
Yeah.
And usually it's the politicians who are screwing us over by making the taxpayers pay too much money. But the long story short here is the Tampa Bay Rays announced today that their stadium deal that they had negotiated with the city was going to be a $1.3 billion stadium, $600 million of which was planned to be paid for by the taxpayer. It's a whole another can of worms. Ken, I don't get paid to check sources. I check two sources on that. So if someone else sees something else, but that's the reporting I did on this story for the Blathering. $600 million by the taxpayer. I personally think that's bullshit. Millionaires should pay for their own stadiums, but
yeah, I agree.
We'll talk about that another time. So anyway, but that was the deal that they made, and the Rays backed out of the deal today based on all the shit that happened in the fall with the storms and everything. And hey, everything's more expensive to build now. So the deal that was $1.3 billion last year is probably not going to cost that going forward. Blah blah blah. So they're like, we can't do the deal in St. Pete. So, and the mayor even had a whole thing about, these guys are, snakes and is not going to deal with them. And he didn't say that, but he said, I'm not going to do deal with them anymore. Like these guys, he badmouthed them. So they're basically now they're going to try to find a team or find a place to go in Tampa itself. They're currently in St. Petersburg.
Okay.
And if they can't, then other teams are going to come calling. Nashville, Charlotte, other places.
It's
which
just
is sad.
Look,
I hate seeing cities lose their teams.
Yeah, the Oakland one hurt. The Oakland one hurt. Yeah. That team meant so much to that community for so long. Like the people there, it just meant a lot. Tampa Bay, yeah, I don't know a lot of Rays fans in my life, but I know they exist. They've been playing in a parking garage for a long time, so they deserve something nice. And then what happened with Storms? Yeah, so I'm going to grieve for the fans too, but I wouldn't mind seeing a team in Nashville or Montreal. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, Montreal. Well, they're getting the team back, but yeah, and they said, Addy mentioned about repairing the stadium. The plan, they said in the press release that I read, again reporting, said they are going to still plan to repair the stadium so they can play in it next year. But this year they can't. It's still destroyed from the hurricane roof.
From the hurricane.
And so they're going to play at the Yankees spring training or someone's spring. Yeah, right. It's the Yankees, right?
Yeah,
Legends spring training facility. Legends. Yeah, there you go.
Because we're the Yankees. I hope it works out. I hope that for Tampa Bay and the fans of that city, But the Nashville Singers, Nashville, what would they be called? The Nashville dance? I don't know. I want the Montreal Firos is what I want them to be called. That's my team in Sim Dynasty. Okay.
Nice.
Love it. They are the devil. Well, they're the Rays. We got to get the devil out. Remember that branding? Steve, thank you. We got a date with Formula One this week.
We sure do. Thank you so much, Ken. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye. Steve there. Check it in. Ranger Donald comes in with the shots fired. Nashville is a dump. I haven't been there since 2009. I love my time in Nashville. Been there twice. Love Nashville, but I haven't been there. I'm not a Rays fan, Eddie. I'm not a Rays. Yankees and Rays have a little bit of a rivalry. The Nashville Stars. Yeah, okay. Was that the AAA team that was there? I call them I don't know, the Nashville Cashers. All right, we got one more call to get to, and then we got some super blathers, and then I'm going to go finish giving myself more heartburn. Right now we got 8984M checking in. Oh, sorry. Wrong setting. Luckily, you were dressed. Okay, Brady, how you doing?
Hey. Yeah, that's why I don't have a camera on,
You're smart, man. You're smart. And I figured, thanks to Ken Plume, texted me my sound settings were messed up today because this is what happens when you come racing back from a lunch and go straight into a show. I'm back, baby. All right, 8984M. Brady, thought about you today. You know what I thought about you today for?
Oh, what for?
Drove past, there's a baseball card shop that's changing locations in Burbank, and they have they took over a CVS, okay? And they're turning it into a giant baseball card store. And on the side of the wall is a big, big, big mural of Shohei Ohtani. And it just made me think of you.
I love it. Yeah. Shohei is bringing back the messy, long-haired Asian boy look. And
I saw that.
I'm here for it.
I like it. Okay.
Letting me be unkempt, and...
Unkempt. Good to hear from you, buddy. What is on your mind? Where do we want to
go? First, I want to say that you do know one Tampa Bay fan, and that is Addie. That's what she was saying in chat.
Yeah, I know. I'm not convinced.
No?
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that Tampa Bay actually. I think Addie just feels she has to. That's what I think. I think she'd like to be a Yankee fan. I think the Yankees own Tampa. In Florida.
Oh, wow.
More Yankee fans in Florida than maybe even New York. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Wow, first the musicals and now this?
Anyways, yeah, okay. I know one. I mean, Cody Hall's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, but he is a Anaheim Angel fan, so that's the closest I get. Perfect. What else? What else do you got to hit me with?
I just came back from a seminar.
A seminar? How very adult of you.
Yeah. Adulting,
What did you learn at this seminar? What was it about?
It's interesting.
It better be.
Yeah, imagine I just go on about something boring.
Yeah. What is it? Pitch me before I even let you finish. What was it about? And then I'll decide if it was interesting.
Yeah, they're talking about AI like content moderation, and they have like
Mhm.
robots populating social media sites
Right.
and
Right.
doing some content moderation.
Okay.
And this was like research into that. So it's like wild because I was thinking they created like a simulation full of.
Hold on, Brady. Brady, hold on. I have deemed this as interesting. You may continue.
Yeah, I think it's relevant to what a lot of us. I mean, we're all on social media, right? And I was just thinking, like,
Right.
they have a simulation full of fake humans, and they're conversing with conversing.
Right.
Not really.
Yes, ones and zeros. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the danger here? What's the benefits here? What do we learn about this?
And I was thinking, yeah, like, have we killed the internet? Like,
we might have.
Do we know like who's a bot, who's real, and who's fake? Am I a bot right now? I don't have a webcam, right?
I've met you, so you sound like the person I've met. This was my issue, my suspicion, and the danger of suspicions, and without proof, you can take it as fact. My suspicion that Threads was, and maybe still is, but when I first got onto Threads, like everyone, and about a year ago, it was like 90% of the people on here seem fake. Like, I see the people I know and I follow, but everyone else seems like this is some sort of bot prompt. It was really creepy and eerie.
Yeah, you can sort of like tell if something is like kind of a bot, like they all have like LLM style language.
Yeah.
LLM is basically what powers ChatGPT, for those who don't know.
I know.
I know, just for someone else who doesn't know.
Okay.
I just finished a grant proposal, my first one of my life.
Oh, okay.
So I had to realize that scientific language talk makes people bored. And I kept on getting hammered, like, just dumb it down for these people with money. The money folks, they don't know what you're talking about. What the hell is an LLM? You got to tell them it's a large language model,
I agree with you. It's smart. No, I think we all should step up our game. I think we should understand more words. But as someone who has spent his entire life in the steerage class, I'm always like, just tell me the simple one-syllable version of that, because I can't handle anything else. But I don't want you to dumb down. Okay. So LQ says it's a problem. MKBHD did a video on the AI tech space on YouTube. I had started a video and figured out it's not a real person. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I
do want to say something positive about this talk, because this is in academia, so we're more balanced. They're not trying to like make money like on social media. And so they did a lot of research on like bias training, right? They mentioned stuff like how LMs are limited in this case, because if you go on ChatGPT, right, you talk to it and then you're like, okay, you're wrong, and then you can sort of convince ChatGPT to agree with you and confirm your own bias, basically.
Okay, but so what happens when Grok tells Elon he's a problem? Does he change it? Is that what's going on?
Elon can say, no, I'm not, and eventually Grok will say, I guess you're not. I feel like all LLMs, these chats are like the super smart friend you have, but they try to fit in. I'm kind of describing myself,
The bots. You're talking about the bots, the chat GPT.
Not that I'm super smart. I'm not as smart as ChatGPT has access to the entire internet, so.
But we broke it. So we're okay. So you learned this stuff. Where do you go with this? What's the lesson here today?
Yeah, there's a lot of I think in terms of content moderation, they can, so instead of like a top-down approach, they describe it as a bottom-up approach.
Okay, but what does that mean? What does that mean to me, Brady?
So, instead of like YouTube, right, smacking down the hammer for you saying the F word,
Okay, right.
Can I say it?
Well, we're past the first 5 minutes of the show.
Okay, yes. Instead, so they won't demonetize you for saying fuck,
Okay.
They will have, I think, a bottom up approach is like they'll flag you, like you have actors flagging you individually.
Okay.
And
again, what does that mean to me? So if I'm on Instagram looking up videos of Haley Williams dancing, which I do daily, to the Caught in the Middle dance, what does the bot tell me no?
Something like the so this is what's specific to like misinformation, so it'll be something like the community notes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it's weird because, like, you know, it feels kind of manipulative from the company. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
It's like a fake bottom up approach, where it's like,
yeah,
the company deploys the system, and they're trying to hacking the notes, which is agreed upon by everyone, right?
The community, yeah, it's a trust we're entering into, that the notes are going to correct things. Okay.
Yeah, and of course, like the talk person said, like, you know, the majority is not right. Of course, I mean, the professor, she was a person of color, so it was like, yeah, we get it. And
yeah, so I always try to own this. Like I just had this conversation with someone today at lunch. I have no problem, and yes, it destroys the world. I use Perplexity. It's the best search engine thing I've ever used. It cuts my research down by hours. I don't shy away from it. It's an AI based thing that would get me shunned from some communities. I think there's something positive there. I also think it's really easy for me to use that to find fact from fiction, but it also might be destroying the world. It's cheese, and it's also a cow farm. It's like Addy was saying earlier. So, but that said, I'm also on the fight for humanity. So, did you learn in this seminar, Brady? Is there hope for humanity?
Oh yeah, of course there is. You know, one thing. Okay. Humans, we're resilient. We're humans. We're on the same biological form as cockroaches. You know, we're kind of like cockroaches.
That's what Cal taught us that lesson.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. You know,
we're surviving.
We can have like the apocalypse, right? But there's still going to be humans. Like there are 8 billion humans. We're going
to be all right. We're going to be all right.
Me individually, maybe not, but you know,
the nuclear family can die. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you said there's a little hope. There's a little hope for us, Brady, and that's the lesson here today.
Yeah, I think. Of course, you know, AI is a tool. Like in The Acolyte, right? One of the themes was, you know, it's about people of power and how they use it, right?
That's the big thing. That's exactly what was discussed at my lunch today.
Mm-hmm.
Who gets it, who uses it, and that's where we seem to lose a lot of the fights.
And then sometimes, you know, these AI companies like OpenAI, they will get their pocket picked by DeepSeek, and they'll throw a big fit about it.
Yep. I saw that. Okay. Yeah, I agree with Alan Smithy. Just don't plug AI into the nukes. And how many movies have clarified that for us? Yes, that's the big one of the big issues there.
What is that? All right, Brady. Movie with Matthew Broderick?
War Games.
Yeah, War Games.
War Games. Yeah. You should study that film. Okay. All right, Brady. This is good information. You have scared me, but then also provided me hope, and I think that's okay.
I also want to end with one funny anecdote from this.
Okay. I'll give you one.
So they okay, so I want to touch on something serious before I get into this. So a lot of these bots, the AI models, they're trained to like detect like hate speech, right?
Sure.
And a lot of the time, like they actually target people who, like, target minorities who are a target of hate speech for some reason, because you know you are the subject of the hate speech, and that
And it goes after the subjects.
Yeah, but like this is versus, an unintended it goes after the
versus the suspects. It goes for the victims, not the suspects.
Yes, this is an unintended consequence. Okay. And so one of the ways they're trying to combat that is training, because a lot of these models are trained on like real conversations, right? And you know the internet, right?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, people are nasty on the internet. Like people talk like people say stuff about people. They think that
Force Center just dealt with that. Yeah. We said clean up.
People say stuff that they don't think that you'll see, right?
Right.
With other groups of people.
But, right.
Yeah. So a lot of
AI's okay.
Yeah. So they're trying to get this. They're trying to generate new data sets for these models to get them better at flagging hate speech, right? Which I think.
And you need humans that's a human job, right?
A human job, but they're also creating like new data sets with another model.
So robots building robots, droids making droids. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't want to have like a human who's. It'd be a weird job for a human to create like hate speech, you know. I mean, you don't want to pay someone that. So that's what I'm getting to.
That'd be a I think the job, though, I have a little bit of knowledge. I think the job would be the machine would say, this is hate speech, and you'd have to say yes or no.
Oh yeah, I think that is a job, huh?
I'll just say this. I know that's a job.
Yeah. I've been on the job search too, so I saw the listing. That was a promoted listing.
Yeah. Let's just say I know more about it.
So I want to get to the anecdote. I don't want to keep you.
What's the story?
They have a bot that generates hate speech.
They have one. Okay.
Well, it generates like normal speech, but also generates hate speech, and I'm just that is weird. That's kind of.
I'd rather the bot do it.
The bot do. That sounds like a skit, you know. So like applying for
sketch, Brady. It's a sketch.
Sketch.
We're not in Sunday school. No skits here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apply for a job to just say hateful things.
No, I wouldn't want that. But though that is a job that people have on YouTube, apparently. Brady, I appreciate this. I think it's wonderful. And could you please be our official AI correspondent?
Oh yeah, you know. And if I get into this field, you know, promote ethics. Ethics. Come on. Don't steal people's data.
Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Thank you, Brady. I'm going to get some questions. I'm going to get on out of here. I appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Brady checking in 898 for him, Kyrie as well. We've got some super chats. I appreciate the super chats, super blathers. Earlier in the night, my Anytime with Ken and Oldham buddy. We are taking tomorrow off from Anytime. I actually have something cool to do tomorrow. I have a little bit of a pitch somewhere, and one of the things that I'm looking forward to maybe happening here. So we are not doing Anytime. But Alden said this: take your shirt off or talk about the new Haim. Haim, the sisters Haim. Releasing new music, Relationships, name of the song, first single. Their forthcoming album, which I believe will be their fourth album. I love it. It's a bit of a different style, but also very much them. Love having the Haim sisters back. They're one of my favorite rock bands going today. So there you go. Talk about it. Malcolm says this: hey, Ken, hope all is well. Rewatching Andor right now, as we say here. Andor, how similar would the structure vibe of the Corpos to your days? Oh, how similar were or is the structure / vibe of the Corpos to your days in public security? Do you know any Cyril Karns or Linus Mosks? I absolutely do. I think they did a good job of that. It's not just about public safety, probably even about law enforcement overall. There's some good folks in there. There's some folks with good intentions. There's, I think, a need for it. I'm not one of those folks that thinks that we need to abolish all forms of law enforcement. I think crime is real. I've seen it. I've dealt with it. I've been up front with it. And often people out on the outside looking in have good intentions in wanting to reform it. And a lot of people, I think, just don't understand it. But on the inside of it, one of my battles has always been people like Cyril Karn, people like Linus Mosk, or even their supervisor, the character, I can't remember, the actor is from Game of Thrones, that are using it to fill a hole in their soul, and that's kind of part of it. There's so many times where Cyril Karn is an interesting character to me because he's holding a line. He's actually holding up what might be the rules. But when you're so focused on that and you can't look outside the lines and see what's actually happened and see the actual oppression on the ground and see the actual harm systems might be causing, I think you become unwillingly maybe a cog, and he's warped by it. He's also warped by the real violence finding him. I also think it is a lot about Andor Ferrix is about the culture there. They do that at such a real world connection to the banging pots and the sounds. I remember a friend who was at the time a rookie in LAPD, and was working the graveyard shift on training, and he'd tell you they'd work in some of the downtown stuff, some of the downtown Rampart division, and he'd say you'd turn a corner and you'd hear whistle after whistle after whistle after whistle. and just kind of the differences. And I think it could harden your heart. And Linus Mosk is someone who knows the lay of the land. He's an interesting character. He knows the lay of the land, but he has no problem doing bad things to hold up these rules. And it goes to what we were talking about with Young Guns too. It goes to the conversation, I think, with Mothma at the party, asking, well, who gets to say who the rule breakers are? Who gets to say even what the rules are? Like, we have to analyze that sometimes. Anyways, all that to say, I did know some of those folks. I did know some Cyril Carnes. I did know some. There was one guy, he was a good kid. He wasn't this big, over-the-top alpha male type of dude. But I got called up as a supervisor to one of the things we used to do in the public safety business. If jewelry store robberies are a real thing, smash and grabs are a real thing. So when the mall would open and when the mall would close, we'd police the red zones extra tight. And if a car was parked in the red zone, we'd pull behind it, make contact with them, check on who they are, try to get them to move. But also it's a case by case basis. And this young kid went up behind a man who was waiting for his very pregnant wife to get in his car. And he had parked in the red zone, had his blinkers on. His wife was coming out of a restaurant, very clearly pregnant. And this one officer, would not budge and kept telling him, move, sir, move now. I'm telling you to move. I'm telling you to move. The rule had a good intention. The enforcement of it might even had a good intention. We don't want anyone to rob jewelry stores, which happens. And it happens in this way. But when you get to the scene and you can't break away from the rule long enough to see what the rule is actually doing in this moment, it's actually affecting someone who clearly would actually probably benefit from your help, not your enforcement. That's where I think part of the problem is. And that's what I think the stuff they did on Ferrex so well. Great stuff. Thank you, Malcolm. Chris King says, my other question, Ken, inspired by my trip to St. Thomas, what kind of vacation do you like? Food, relaxing activities, sites, is there an itinerary? I like to work, and I like to feel as though I am living in the area which I'm traveling. So these aren't necessarily good traits. This is why I love when I'm attending conventions in other cities. This is why I like doing stand-up. I'm working. I'm there for a purpose. I do have an ability to relax. I do have ability to turn it off. But I don't have an ability to pull away from who I am when I am working. And when I am not working, I don't know who I am. It's not a good trait. So therefore, I don't take a lot of vacations. Grace and I have not been blessed to take vacations. The last one we actually really took was Paris. And that was great. But even then, for 2.5 days in Paris, we did all the touristy things. But my favorite part, seeing the Eiffel Tower, great. Seeing River Seine, everything was great. Loved it. All the historic landmarks, going to the Louvre. We went to the Louvre, it was great. My favorite day in Paris was she went to get a tattoo. We went down to the tattoo parlor. We made friends with him. His buddy came by, got off work. We all had beers. 2 Americans, 2 Frenchmen. Riots we could literally hear riots behind us. You heard the whistles. You heard the police beating the protesters and the protesters beating the police. And we just had beers like we lived there. We are part of it. I love wherever I'm going, I love getting into the community. So some of that's good, some of that's bad. Paris. She ain't pregnant. She's hiding a shotgun. That kind of is what the kid was saying. And then the final super blather here of the night. Our buddy Laserbolt, no question, just buy yourself something pretty, like a 7-Eleven hot dog or something. With that, Laserbolt, I could buy myself 3 hot dogs. That's why I go to 7-Eleven. Again, shout out to Laserbolt videos if you missed at the top of the show. Laserbolt, who has worked long and hard on his YouTube channel, Laserbolt videos there. Feel free, Laserbolt, to drop a link here in chat. Finally got past 1,000 subs. That is the big hurdle to get partnered. Now, he says this. Laserbolt says, I still need roughly 800 more watch hours. But he says those are coming quickly. And ever since I started streaming 2-hour group flights, which are a lot of fun to watch on his channel. So what that means is, hey, if you want to help Laserbolt out and get fully monetized on that channel, so he too can take super chats, super blathers, and all the things on his live streams, help him get over the 4,000 hour watch mark. I think we here in the chat can really help our guy Laserbolt. And maybe if he gets to 4,000 hours, maybe, I'm putting him on the spot, maybe he'll do a Forrest Meets Pilot episode we all can watch. So if you want, just watch it. Just put it on the background. Forrest Meets ASMR. That's the link right there. YouTube.com/@LaserboltVids. Check out the channel. Just put something on. Watch in the background. Help him get those hours up so we can help build this together. Love that. You guys have done so much to me in building up this show. Also, like my Sports Card ASMR channel, when I put a call out to get over 1,000 subs, people help me do it. So there you go. Alan Smithy, thanks. Generous. Thanks for the show. Thank you, Alan, for being here. One of the longtime folks. I always, sometimes a little wary when people are from the Schmodown days because did you grow with me? Can you tolerate me now? Alan Smithy's been around the space for a lot. I also have met him in person several times, and he's got a great beard. Not unlike mine, though. I think he's a little more distinguished than me. So, Alan, I'm glad you're here. Appreciate you. Final question of the day. Jared Olette says, best hotel bar. Any one of them? I don't know. There's 2 in Anaheim I like. Anytime I go down the Anaheim Convention Center, there's the 2 bars on each side. That's a good one there. The one in London was okay. It wasn't ready for us. No one told the staff there that there was thousands upon thousands of Star Wars nerds coming to the Excel Center in London, and it was the Knicks. It was literally a hotel right out in front of it. So the staff was great. They were a little overwhelmed for us. Best hotel bar. When I think about what are the ones I want to go to, I do think it is the Marriott in Anaheim. I think I just have too many positive memories there. Reggie Donald says best hotel bar is in the room. That's not wrong either. You're not wrong either. Supersized show tonight. Thank you all for making it happen. I think I'm starting to lose my voice. Currently, we will be back Saturday, though I do have, we have a birthday party to go to that night. So it'll be an hour in and out. We'll have some fun on Saturday. And next week, I think there's some changes based on one little temp job I have. So bear with me. You guys make this community strong as I find my way forward. Just look for those links, look for the tweets, go to the YouTube channel and check on when it says upcoming live stream. That's it. That's what we got. We'll see you next time. Bye.